Joining us now via Skype from Raleigh, Carolina, is a young woman who left Brazil for America and is an anti-communist activist. Her name is Julia Song, and she joins us now. Nice to meet you, Julia.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. Tell me a little bit about your own past in Brazil, fighting against the authoritarian communist rulers.
So in Brazil, we fell for the fallacies. I mean, this was back in 2003. We didn't have really the knowledge of the fake news media as we have today, as Trump exposed it in 2016 in his campaign trail. We just believed that the systems who are built to indoctrinate us, that socialism was a good idea. We bought the notion that it might be not as bad, right? We didn't think it was going to be as we didn't think that it was going to be as tyrannical, because we didn't think about it in the concept of we're electing a dictatorship. We just thought that it's just a government, a democratic government. But that doesn't really exist. Democracy and socialism don't really walk hand in hand. And that's one of the issues that people need to realize. So once we elected the government, it was pretty much impossible to get them out of power. And that's why he was stabbed. He was stabbed by an activist of the Socialist Party. And before, 4 years before he tried to run for president, another business-friendly candidate tried to run. And he also died in suspicious circumstances right before the elections. So when you think about it, it's merely impossible. And people talk about Venezuela in a way that, you know, it's so hard to get rid of the socialist governments once you have them in power. It's virtually impossible. They'll cancel your ability to communicate. They'll make things like even if they don't do so through regulations, they'll do so through financial means. So, for example, they'll make communicating extremely expensive, so only the elites can communicate, and things like that. So it's very disheartening for the Brazilian people to see, you know, he was going to get elected, but at the end of his campaign, he got stabbed. And we were like, oh, no, not again. We're about to become Venezuela. We can get rid of these folks.
One of the things that I noticed over the years was how Barack Obama, as president of the United States, gave so much moral support to the authoritarian rulers. Not just his trip to Cuba, of course, was a disaster. He gave so much political legitimacy to the Castros and got nothing in return in terms of liberalization. But I remember his high-five style handshake with Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro, and his praise for Lula. I remember once when he met Lula, he said he was the most popular politician in the world. How much role did Barack Obama play in normalizing these abusive regimes throughout South America?
Oh, and that's something that I speak about it very loudly, and people don't realize the importance of America, the importance of North America overall as a beacon of freedom to the world. All of these events, I mean, as we went out into the street and we were talking about, you know, getting together and gathering and fighting the tyrannical government, we were watching what America was doing. We were watching what the people were going to the streets and fighting for. And the world watches us. I believe 100% that the only reason why Bolsonaro won is because Trump won prior to him. And we see in Italy, we see in Spain, we see in France, similar things happening. So when Barack Obama was really fighting for Lula and these people, we were so confused. We were like, the America that we look for freedom is telling us that this guy here, who as soon as he got elected, he enacted gun laws that we said no to. We said no to those gun control laws, and he enacted them anyway as soon as he got elected. And we didn't understand why Barack Obama was, you know, preaching for this guy. And we tried to give him a chance, but in the end, we said no to it.
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. Every day, I do a video monologue, and then I interview an interesting guest, and then I end by reading my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at therebel.media/shows.